Welcome to Discourse Syndicate. I'm your guy KNTX. Here with me is Jameson Brandon. We needed to do a reaction video to this poorly edited video and this really weird dialogue that happened between MeetKevin and Richard Hart, where Richard Hart was doing nothing but educating the guy, and he just wasn't getting it and then thought he had a gotcha moment. So we'd like to break that down for you guys. So Jay, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, it's good to come on. Like, I gotta admit, I'm a little bummed out. Like, just to start off, I'm a little bummed out because even though the direction of MeetKevin's channel stuff has changed quite a bit, I still kind of like the guy, right?
Yeah.
And like, you kind of hold people to high esteem, and then you're reminded of maybe that's not a good idea, because everyone's got their own pressures, right? And I have no clue. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what's going on in his camp, or like who's in his ear, or what the intentions were. But I agree with you. It's very obvious from literally the intro that this is going to be like a weird interview live stream thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, from the start, it's weird.
Give me some more background on your thoughts on that, because you had said, and I thought it was really smart, the way that he even started the interview.
Yeah, and so I wanted to play it because we can't play too much of on MeetKevin's side, which here's just the titling of that, which confronting is something that Graham Stephan uses. They use it on the coffee podcast. It's something that MeetKevin uses. It's just like, and again, that's like I guess that's like the new term to use, right? And then obviously we're all familiar with, like, is XYZ a scam? Like, that's always been used, right? So there's his titling, and then here we're going to mostly reference Richard's video. But yeah, the beginning, because I thought, like, maybe I'm just tripping. Like, let me go back and look. And I went back and checked out, like, George Gammon live stream, 2 Ross Gerber live streams, a couple others. And it's like there was always like this kind of warm introduction. Like this kind of, hey, how are you, man? Like, super excited to have you on today. We're going to talk about this, that, and another thing. And then I went back and I listened, and I was like, why is this one so weird? Because I couldn't put my finger on it. And I found it. So I wanted to play this, actually. So let's make sure I got my audio. And I want to I'll probably have the editors like re-loop this one part like 3-4 times, just because either I'm tripping or this is kind of weird. So anyways, let's play this video. Let me make sure. I got to turn on my audio, right?
Yeah, you might have to end your screen share and then reshare it and share audio when you do.
All right, let's do that.
I do that all the time.
Let me back this up just a little bit. Okay, here we go.
StreamYard. So shout out to StreamYard, link in the description down below. All right, folks, welcome aboard, Richard. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
There it is.
Yeah.
Why is that so weird? How you doing?
How you doing?
Just stops.
Yeah, it's not an inviting, hey, tell the audience who you are and give us a little rundown on what you've done, and none of that. Yeah.
And the face, look at the face.
Yeah.
So anyways, just understand, like, and if you want to, make sure I'm legit in what I'm saying, go back to MeetKevin's channel and just look at, like, literally any other interview, and there's a much bigger smile. It's an authentic smile, not this like I just farted and I don't want anyone to know it face. And there's like a legitimate little dialogue before we jump right in, because then it goes from this.
I'm doing very good.
Awesome. So I want to know, Hexcoin has
just jumps right in. Just jumps
not
right
organic.
In. So Hex,
not
Hex
an organic
Hex is
introduction at all.
Yeah, Hex is popular. Some say it's a scam. Some say it's not. Why is it not a scam?
Yeah.
That's it. That's how we jump in. So it's just strange. So anyways, I did have a couple of the things noted here. So yeah, that's the other big thing that stuck out to me is there's no rapport building. Why?
Yeah.
No rapport building. Like, this is like talking to people 101, isn't it? So the whole thing from the start is like combative to a degree. And again, we're splitting hairs, like, what we consider combative, but like the overall tone is just very much like boom, 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 boom. We're not going to stop, build rapport at any point in time. We're not going to, like, yeah, I understand, relate in any sort of way, put my arm around you in any sort of way, bring you in like a brother. There's no rapport building through the whole thing. That's why at like 1 hour, I was exhausted from listening to this. Because when you have an interview like that, where it's just like questioning, it's like an FBI interrogation. There's no camaraderie.
Yeah, and we'll see it as we go through this a little bit, but
yeah,
it's almost like, where is he going with this line of interrogation? There was no clear direction. And then this video comes out, his big video comes out, The Tangled Web of Crypto. And it's like the way he edits it is almost like, hey, check out all these gotchas. But you didn't get anything. You just weren't understanding the education you were receiving. This is really strange to me, the way the light he put this in, as if he had got a bunch of gotchas in there.
Well, I think he cut out, I think this is like a cut up of like, and there's no transition between the cuts. So it's just like cut after cut after cut, right? So you're not even really sure what you're hearing in this 10-minute clip. So it's kind of hard to follow if you didn't even listen to the interview.
Yeah.
But he brings up something about like the 90% could be owned by you. And then Richard says, yeah, it could be owned by you too. And then awkward. And that's when he's rubbing his head like this. And then it transitions into, they start talking about the audit, I think. I don't think he put in, which I'm surprised he didn't put in then, the OA stuff, because that was brought up 3 times too in the daughter addresses, right?
Yeah. And,
so anyways,
and the thing that was most frustrating to me in the interview is he was trying to explain, like, yeah, we don't publish the results of the audit for one of the audits. You can look at the other audits and they're fine. There's 2 other audits, one for economics, one for code. But one of them, he literally would have had to pay for the time of the auditor to learn the code because they weren't great at their job. And he had other things for his dev to do rather than go back and teach the auditors what was really being done in the audit, at that part of the audit. And I don't know why that was such a big hang up for Kevin, and why that's like he thinks that that's a gotcha.
Well, I think at that point they just weren't really so. And again, I don't really know what was going on in Richard's mind, because I think Kevin just wasn't getting it. But if we look, where is that on the timeline? Okay, so there's the daughters. Where's the audit? There it is, right there. So we're an hour and a half in, and I just told you how I felt pretty exhausted after an hour, because it was just like question. No rapport, no confirmation of anything. Even Richard tried to give him a compliment by understanding like what he was explaining with deflation at one point, and he spent like 10 minutes explaining it. And then Kevin, well, he responded like he understood. I don't know if he actually did. And then, Richard attempted to like even throw him a compliment and be like, hey man, like that's really good. You understood that a lot. Most people wouldn't. And then he had to like come back and be like, oh yeah, you know what? Thank you. Because he was already into the next question. And you can see it on his face through most of the early 30 to 45 minutes. It's like Kevin's face was just like, he's not even listening. It's just like, okay, what's the next question?
Yes.
So
yes.
What was going on there? That was weird.
Well,
so if
go ahead.
I was just going to say, if I was exhausted at 1 hour, then maybe by the time we got into the audit stuff, which I'm showing you the timeline now at an hour and 20 minutes, maybe Richard was just like, fuck this guy, I've had enough. And so, because he started, if you notice, Richard was talking higher level and higher level and higher level every single time he responded. So maybe in his mind, he's just like, I'm going to start messing with this guy because I've just had enough.
Or maybe I'm going to throw some concepts out that obviously he's not getting, but maybe some percentage of his community will. So, at that point, he maybe wasn't even speaking to Kevin any longer. So one thing that I've noticed and has been said within the community, and I agree with, is Kevin is 2017. He is 2017, just getting into crypto. Like he's us in 2017. We think we got a grasp on it, but we don't know anything. We really don't understand this industry. We don't understand what's really going on behind the scenes. We got someone in here trying to change our paradigm. And it's like, wait. I don't want to pivot there, because that entails me having to admit that I really don't know what I'm talking about. And I think that was a lot of what was going on between Kevin and Richard. Yeah. And so he's trying to, from the very onset, he just blew his mind, and it threw the whole interview off when he says, Bitcoin's deflationary. And Richard said, no, not true. Actually, it's very much inflationary. Every time the miner mines a block, there's an inflation. So
having to start the whole thing off with like, oh shit, here we go. This guy doesn't even know this.
Yeah.
I mean, that could have thrown him off completely. I don't know. Like I'm not Richard, so I don't know. But I mean, so we're starting to see some of the oddities that came out. And now we see that, okay, well, we got a highlight reel here of the quote unquote gotchas that was released afterwards. But I do think overall, like for what he was given, he gave a lot of great answers. And I talk about this a lot. I don't know if other people do, but how would you be at this point? Like after a couple of years of the lockdown, after every interview that you're on, look at how Roger Ver, responded and started reacting towards the end. And now he's completely off Twitter. I haven't seen that guy on Twitter in ages, since April of 2021. But like, how do you expect guys like that to react? And I was even harsh on Roger when I didn't have a clue back in 2017. This is what this reminds me of all over again. And so after these guys get beaten up and they're expecting on every single interview they go on, except for like maybe with you, KNTX, and like 3 other guys that it's like a safe space, but they go in with battle armor on.
Yep.
So it's like, I mean, why does this guy have to be nice? That I always am thinking about that. It's like, gosh, it's a gift that he's even like giving them legitimate answers and not completely trolling his face off right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Richard is much calmer in the face of adversity than I would be. I'd be yelling at people like, "Hey, listen, dumb, let me explain it to you."
Yeah.
Like,
And
you
I'd
obviously
say
don't
dumb as
understand.
well.
Yeah, you obviously don't understand this. Let me put it in a way that maybe you can pick something up and maybe you can learn something. So sit down and wait for the education. No,
Yeah.
he's very patient with them. He is very much an educator and he understands this stuff. And I think the thing that's going to be unfortunate is as time unrolls and Kevin learns more about how this industry and these decentralized systems actually work instead of his preconceived notions of the stock market that he does 4 videos a day on. I think he's going to realize, man, I might have screwed up here. This guy, I think, actually had this right. So we'll see if he continues not necessarily engaging Richard, but he engages the ideals that Richard presents and really educates people on and changes so many different paradigms. So maybe he'll catch on at some point. I don't know if Kevin's he's not a dumb guy, but I think he is. Yeah, I think he's kind of slow to understand. I think he's trying to fit crypto in the box of understanding that he owns with his previous experiences in the stock market. And I don't think you can do that with crypto. And I think he's got a lot of learning to do going forward. And as crypto continues to out earn his precious stocks and even his real estate, he's going to be forced as a personal finance channel to get more in the space. So he's going to have to update his paradigm. So maybe he'll circle back at some point in time.
I'd like to see a part 2 personally, where it's like, let's just chill out. Let's just relax those shoulders, bring them on down, and let's just now talk. Let's try that one.
Yeah,
let's try that as a part.
Let's
2.
have an actual discourse.
Yeah, and like I feel like, you know, if I were to make a comparison, it's like, why does Richard have to do this? No. He's like a guy who I think he's fairly comparable to like Elon Musk from a standpoint that Elon Musk, you know, bet it all on his brand. You know, he kept all of his shares in Tesla for the longest time and SpaceX because he didn't want to cash out and make sure that he was financially set. He wanted to have skin in the game. And if, you know, SpaceX went down or Tesla went down, he was going down with the ship. And he talks about that in interviews all the time. Like SpaceX was weeks from going bankrupt. He had not sold any. And now he sold Tesla, because he has to from tax standpoint. He's also talked about how his taxes are extremely easy, but that's for another conversation. But my point is that, you know, that's another guy who's like, he's constantly raked over the coals. Like we had the whole short squeeze thing that tried to happen years ago. What was that? 2017, maybe, where everyone tried to short him and get him out. You know, he's been chased after from big automotive, let's call it, VC guys, hedge funds, you know, that just didn't like him. He didn't fit their mold. He wasn't in a boys club. And he's another guy who's just been chased down and stomped down, who I think whether you agree with what Elon's doing, he thinks he's doing good. And there's millions of people on this planet who will benefit from what he does.
Yep.
Okay. Same thing here. We've got a guy who is now mostly not taking out profit. I think the watch spree and what you saw with the Ferrari and the clothing, I think that's the first bit of like profits he's taken out to go and get shit with, right? And it's another guy that like, I don't think he has to be out here doing shit at all. He doesn't have to be doing live streams all the time. He doesn't have to be going on other people's live streams. Like he could just chill. He could sit back and chill. So the fact that he's not proves already that he's at a higher caliber because he's in the arena when he doesn't need to be. And that's the hardest time to be in the arena. It's easy to be in the arena fighting for your life when you have no options and you have no choice and you're back up against the wall. But when you have a choice, and it could be like chilling, drinking White Claws on the beach, you know, sleeping with as many chicks as you want, why the fuck would you be working? So
especially as hard as he is trying to do revolutionary stuff in an industry that hates him because he's not on the inside and won't play the dirty games that so many developers and teams within crypto are playing right now.
Yeah, and he wanted to. The other side of it too is, you know, a lot of the flack that he caught with Hex is he wanted to market it. He came at it from a marketer's standpoint. You have to do that. Call me crazy, but you have to market shit for people to want to buy it. So it's just kind of part of life. You got to accept. And so, yeah, dude, another guy that completely does not need to be out here. not as loud or as big as he is by any means, but yet he is. So it's like, that is a higher caliber person, and you cannot argue any other way. It's just how it is. That is the facts. So yeah, so it's just like, people need to remember that, like, over and over and over again. And so anyways, I just wanted to make that clear, but I've got some timestamps that I wanted to jump into.
Absolutely.
Grab some water here. Okay,
Yeah, well,
so
while you pull up these timestamps, I just want to say the nice things that he's bought, I don't even think those are hex gains, man. He's been in crypto a long time, and I don't think he's likely to sell any hex. I think he's more likely to buy something that he likes. And there's some other cryptos that he had, and maybe there were some profits taken on Bitcoin. He's been a Bitcoin OG since 2012. So
yeah, I wasn't, just to be clear, I wasn't talking about hex. I was just talking in general. And again, if he did call that top, I mean, we're all kind of talking about the same sort of around the same sort of time when a lot of this started kicking up. So it's like, yeah, it makes sense. Maybe he was just taking profits on some Bitcoin or whatever. Again, I don't know. So yeah, he could take, and I want to be crystal clear, he could take as much profits as he wants.
There's nothing wrong with that. No, absolutely not. There's nothing wrong with the fruit of your labor, and you know, just
don't drop on everyone's head as a founder.
Well, I know, as much as he talks about it, even if he were to take profits in hex, he talks about it all the time about, why would you pay the slippage against yourself? Set limit orders. It's that simple.
Yeah, and again, like you've got Vitalik is dumped on everyone's head. Charlie Lee dumped on everyone's head, and then came out and right after that was just like, hey, I'm walking away from.
But Richard's the bad guy.
yeah, it's just and again, so it's just like we're once again dealing with a scenario where it's like bias isn't equally applied. Yes is yes, no is no. At the end of the day, right? And that has never changed. But it's like, well, I can't say yes on this one because it bumps into these feelings and these beliefs and who I like and blah blah blah. And so that's what you're dealing with. So anyways, let's this is the first hang up that I wanted to play through. So what we'll probably do is we'll just bring in a clip over the top of this one, just so it's bigger for everyone to see. But I wanted to I think this is the first big hang up. The order book thickness was like a real big hang up for me. So let's play through this.
Yeah, he didn't understand how DeFi order books work on a decentralized exchange.
Yeah, let's play through this.
My understanding, and maybe, and this is where I just want you to fill in for the audience, is that if I have higher volume, I have tighter spreads because the order book is larger. If I want to sell a hex and there's a lack of volume, then how can I actually get hex out? What you're suggesting is, hey, if you want to take it out, you get punished essentially, so you're incentivized to keep it in. Is that kind of the reverse psychology you're suggesting?
Well, no, people just conflate all these things. So they conflate mistakenly that volume is related to order book thickness. Order book thickness is how good order execution you get. It's how much slippage you have to pay. And so if you go to match.xyz or 1inch.io and you say, I want to sell $1 million of hex right now, let's go do that real quick. 1inch.io.
I've never heard of this exchange.
Sure. So the majority of liquidity for Ethereum, the largest, thickest order books in the world, are online, on chain. They're no longer in centralized exchanges, which is beautiful because this means that you can see who's buying, who's selling, what else they own, when they might have stakes ending, what they usually do when their stakes end. It's beautiful and open and transparent, the most transparent trading in the world. When you go on a centralized exchange, you don't know who you're bidding against. You don't know if it's exchange or in-house market making team. You don't know whether they're spoof bids that'll get pulled to see you trying to get order execution. It's trash. Centralized exchanges are garbage. They make you beg for your own money. They get hacked all the time. Billions of dollars have been lost to centralized exchanges. So the majority of hex trading is online, which is, by the way, why the volume number is so low. Because when these other coins list on centralized exchanges, you know what they do? They get fee-free trading accounts. You know what they do with their fee-free trading accounts? They put tons of bids and asks in between the spread, and they do tons of volume, but the price never actually moves. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I sense your frustration with the market makers. I'm not sure I agree with order book.
Well, I'm going to give you the math right now. I'm going to give you the math right now. Okay, if you want to sell $1 million of hex right now,
1 inch, right? 1 inch.
Well, this is just
order.
Yeah.
What this tells me is that Kevin has never executed an order on a decentralized exchange. He knows nothing about true DeFi. He is so used to the centralized exchange order book, especially in the stock market and the trading desks that he trades in and presents to his community on a regular basis, 3-4 times a day sometimes, that he literally has no clue what Richard is saying here. He doesn't understand the transparency of the blockchain, doesn't understand that these things can be set through these market aggregators. Just flat out doesn't understand DeFi, has never experienced it, has absolutely no experience with it.
Yeah, and a big giveaway was a 1 inch. 1 inch, what is that?
Yeah, what is that? I've never heard of this exchange. No, it's not even an exchange. It's an aggregator, which Richard was in education mode. Like, no, you don't understand. So
yeah,
he wanted to get his point across to him.
Yeah, and Kevin uses a Bloomberg terminal. So like that's what he shows on most of his videos. So Okay, and again, if you're listening to this and you're still maybe not getting it, let's explain this one more time, like how most centralized exchanges work. It starts from the very beginning, and it continues on with promotions. So as soon as it gets listed, they're given a certain amount of the token, of the coin. And the whole point of that is to hold up the market on that exchange. So they all have different requirements. Sometimes you got to do a payoff and provide coins as well. But anyways, now the coin is listed and they populate a certain amount of markets. And so they have to make sure that they get enough liquidity from you to be able to make that market start, right? And this also happens when the market dies off. They go back to the teams and say, hey, we should put more coins into this. We'll do a contest and it's going to pump the coin. So it's like for a while after the IEO, IDO, and all that shit ran out, is Binance was doing this with low cap coins that had completely stalled out and were flatlined dead. And so they would just go one by one, and month after month, that would run a contest. Okay, so now let's talk about order book pieces specifically. On any centralized exchange at any point in time, you can create a ask or sell order, and you can pull that. So a buy or sell order, and you can make it for as big as you want, and you can pull that before it gets filled. Okay, so now we're starting to see where those volume numbers come from. Volume means nothing. 24-hour volume means literally nothing. When, who knows, 70, 80, 90% of that is just wash trading. It's fake volume. It's not real. There's so much spoofing and order book manipulation that occurs in crypto because there is no regulation that you really truly have no idea about the true volume of those coins in a 24-hour period. With Hex, however, because it's not on a single centralized exchange, it's the exact opposite. You're getting literally the truest value of 24-hour volume.
A real market.
So that's why it's so hard for people to understand, because they're like, no, wait a second. This doesn't make sense. And that's why early on in this interview, he asked about Solana's market cap, which again, that has to do with volume and, last sell price or last buy price rather. Same thing. So anyways, he brought that reference up earlier because again, that tells you the frame and that shows you the level of understanding is that he wasn't getting it. He wasn't getting why these two are so different. Well, that's why.
Yes. And just to point towards the noobishness, Kevin's a gamer, so all you guys understand from the gaming world what a noob is. He's such a noob in crypto that he doesn't even understand, because Solana has become its own blockchain meme, that he's pumped Solana's blockchain on his channel several times and doesn't even realize that they've literally had to take down the Solana blockchain twice this year because it's been spammed. And for the fact that the developers of Solana can even take it down, Kevin has obviously done no research, shows that it's not censorship resistance, which is not actually a crypto. So I just want to throw that out there too.
Yeah, they actually, Solana was down for 24 hours as well. And that just kind of like breezed by everybody and they didn't really care about that.
And then it pumped again. That's the weirdest thing.
Right.
And then it pumped again. Like, to me, I'm in crypto because I want censorship resistance. It's the only thing that an expensive database is worthwhile other than the speculative gains. And if they can just take down the blockchain, how is that crypto? And how does that make it on a big personal financial channel, personal finance channel, when that is totally the opposite of the philosophy of where crypto even evolved from? So anyway, that's neither here nor there, but it just shows his inexperience with these markets and what crypto really is.
Yeah, it's just kind of a shame because like I don't know. I thought personally that you bring a guy like this on in general, and you should probably show a little bit more respect than he did. And it's like he brings on somebody like Ross Gerber, who I don't want to attack anybody, but I mean the guy's deleted quite a bit of tweets. He's wrong 4 or 5 times a day. He's a perma bear. He's like Peter Schiff. So it's like, well, that frame of mind is great for a reference point to just understand what the downside risk is, right? From somebody. Don't worry, tomorrow they'll be saying the same thing. But like he gave that guy more respect, and it's like publicly that guy has a worse reputation than this guy right in front of you, but you treated this guy worse. So it's like, what are we doing here? I don't know. That part kind of struck me as significant as well.
Well, I think it goes back to his inexperience in this market. He doesn't know who the players are. He doesn't know who the people who are actually trying to save people are. He's just going for the people that have eyes and pumping them in front of his channel for more likes and more views.
Yeah, and I know that at one point Kevin brought up like dog coins, all the meme coins on his channel, and I guess it was like cautionary tale of a video. But it, again, like, I don't think most people realize what they're getting into with these projects. If the guy who made the coin, which is just some like duplicate script, cloned again and again and again and again, which I can't remember which one it was, but I think they were all using, what was it, Shiba's script was like open source or something, and it just kept redoing it and even leaving pieces of the code in there, but doing it again with a different name. But yeah, I mean, the original, the guys who make those, they'll buy in first, and they'll be sitting on a bulk of the coins, and they're the ones who dump. Like, I have a feeling that the guy who made that $8.4 billion off of Shiba pumping was the guy who made it.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's going to take profits, and he's going to dump on your head, and he did. That happened like literally right after that. So I think he was just trying to figure out, like, holy shit, I just got rich. Oh my God. And he was in shock for probably like 3-4 days. And then he's like, I got to sell this. So anyways, like, everyone could do that. Every single founder could do that, to where they're like sticker shocked, shell shocked of how much money they just made, and they could dump on your head. So 2 years, and that hasn't happened, right? But whales have dumped on your head. You know what I mean? So, I say all this to hopefully help put into perspective for those listening, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if it will make the final cut, but I like to point out that he was pumping Doge with that the Doge guy that made like $3 million at the top of the market right before Elon came on to Saturday Night Live, and Doge dumped. And him and all of his personal finance buddies had this the Doge guy on, and they were pumping Dogecoin. And you're sitting there going, there's no way that Dogecoin ran up from 2-3 cents up to 75 cents. And that's healthy for a meme coin. And you guys are sitting there pumping it just because it's getting the clicks, likes, and views, but you're going to get people wrecked. And sure enough, right after the SNL, right before the SNL interview, Doge dumped, literally dumped.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, he was on. So the Doge was on Andre Jick first, then Graham Stephan, then MeetKevin, and then down to nothing.
That was definitely ill-advised. I would say.
I was trying to get their attention at that time on Twitter and in their comments, and I know there were other Hexicans doing the same, saying, wait a second. It's got no product market fit. It doesn't replace a product in the bank. There's absolutely no reason why Dogecoin, that's been around forever with its horrible code that doesn't even allow the nodes to agree on people's wallet balances, should ever get to this level. But Elon was talking about it, and there was some guy there's some patsy they could put on screen showing it went from nothing to a millionaire. So that's what they were doing, and it was unfortunate, because those of us who have any experience in this industry at all knew that it was just a matter of time before somebody got wrecked. And we showed their patsy as he got wrecked too.
Yeah, I agree. And that was something, that was actually something that came up a lot in the comments. And somebody tried claiming that they had proof, somebody admitted to them that they were all just like paid shills for Hex. And I'm just like, holy cow, dude, this is like, this narrative's still going on. I kind of find that ridiculous, to where it's like, if you got a bunch of people that like all support something, and clearly they're giving like different answers, different tones, different lengths of responses, etc. And it's just like, oh, it's a bot, it's a paid shill, it's a bot.
Yeah,
it's like, that's convenient. That's very simple.
That's intellectually lazy too.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So I just wonder, like, as the documentary pieces, some of the documentary pieces come out, I would definitely make it a point to drip out a lot of the testimonial pieces, because that's important with any project. Like, people have to see that people have made money. And the fact that a lot of people have made a lot of money with this project, I think should be talked about more. Even though then it'll be used once again to be like, oh, see, told you it was a scam. It's like, you just can't win. You just can't win with some of these people. Anyways, should we jump into this OA stuff? This OA
Absolutely.
Business?
Let's do it.
All right. I think this is the first time. There's 3 mentions, I believe. Whoever did this, subtitles, Assistant Hexicano, the timestamps, you are a godsend. Okay, here we go.
You say it's easier to hodl because of the staking and the yield parameters, but 85% of the people don't.
Well, sure, you can track that down. Half of those coins are the origin addresses, daughter coins. So the origin address used to get coins during the launch phase. We get half the coins. We got less if more free claimers claimed, but only 3% of possible Bitcoiners, the Bitcoin did. Still billions of dollars, but it was only 3%. So, which raised the share that the origin address got. The origin address used to send its coins to other addresses, and those addresses would stake for a very long time, 10-year, 9-year, 8-year, 7-year. The problem with that is that it reduces the market cap because those coins are burnt, and it reduces the APY for other stakers because it's creating tons of shares. It's hard for other people to create shares. And so at some point, I think maybe a month in, Solana chain can verify it all. Instead of sending to addresses which would go stake for a long time, it would send to addresses that just wouldn't stake. And what that created, if you look at the chain analysis, You don't know who the other addresses are, but you can look at their behavior. The chain analysis is that apparently the largest whales in this ecosystem prefer to let everyone make very high APY and have a higher market cap to on-ramp new users. Now, let me tell you why that might be a good idea. If you own 50% of the coins in something, or you own 50% of the supply in something, like say every single founder of a public traded company used to. So Bezos used to own 50% of Amazon. Musk used to own 50% of Amazon. But then over time, they choose to own less. Why? To on-ramp and make a bigger pie. So they own a smaller piece of a larger pie. They end up making more money. If your game theory is, I just want to own all of the pie, then you can only 2x your stack. You can only 2x your value, period. If you already own half the coins and you work hard to get the other half, you have 2x your stack. That's garbage. Texas price has gone up 1,000,000%, which is 10,000x. So the magic to designing a cryptocurrency in any speculative instrument is the on-ramping of the maximum number of users and making the largest impact, because that matters exponentially more than owning a larger percent of the stuff. Because those coins that aren't staking right now, they could stake, and then the interest rates would go down. But then people would only have the price chart to look at. Now, it would probably amplify the price chart because the people that would be selling would be getting less coins. And so kind of auto balances like Bitcoin hash rate. If the hash rate's too high compared to the value, miners lose money, they turn the hash rate off, it auto balances. If the staking rate is too high, then people might end their stakes because the payout in X terms is lower, but then the USD value would pick up because people are getting paid less coins, right? So it's this auto balancing system.
So I understand this. I hear you talking about the past price, which
No.
you acknowledge, which I appreciate that you acknowledge that.
No, he doesn't understand that because he wasn't listening the whole freaking time. I don't know if he was reading his chat or what the deal was, but that was gold in there.
Yeah, and he was cold as ice. Not
Yeah.
a single reaction. Not like a, oh my God, this. Let me interject here and give a little fun fact, a little tipsoid. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No. Or
Like a sphinx.
His favorite stock, has been in the past, and I haven't watched MeetKevin in quite some time, but his favorite stock in the past was always Tesla. Why didn't he interject with how Elon owned 50% and only owns 20%, now owns less than that since he sold off? Like, he didn't interject any of that to put his commentary in there. He wasn't even looking at him. Yeah, I understand that. No, he just gave you gold for the last 2 minutes, and it doesn't seem like you picked up anything that he said.
Yeah, weird, right? And so again, like the whole interview feels like this. Like it's just cold. No rapport. Yeah, like just weird. Okay, so I think now we're jumping into, okay, let's go to the OA part 2.
Or wallets have ended their 1 or 2 year stake. A lot of them have ended their 1 or 2 year stake. Maybe they were even more previously. What happened to the hex net? Where did the hex go? Because now those are all individual addresses.
No, just that's the reason. Well, that's the reason the staking participation is so low, right? So like, there's a lot of whales and hex that have really long time horizon thinking. So they'll either stake for 15 years or just get diluted now in order to on-ramp more users, is my guess. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you take the free money? Because you stake for just a day, right? So I think if a lot of users aren't staking, it's probably because they have like an alternative, maybe marketing method, right? Motive. Because you have to understand, first of all, when you quote somebody that they can make 10,000x returns, it sounds like a scam. So it's easier to actually on-ramp a user saying it's a 40% APY because they can believe that. But if you tell them it's actually 1.4x times your USD return, which is 1,000,000x, and you're like, or 10,000x, it's shocking to people. They can barely believe it, And if we showed them all the free money that was airdropped to us, they wouldn't believe that either. And by the way, here's the sad part. If you do get them to believe that, then it opens them up to start getting scammed by all the scammers out there. And so there's this art that I call the risk diode, where you can warn people about scams without telling them the URL to go to get scammed. And so people are already being scammed know to be careful or get out. And people that haven't been introduced to the scam yet, they don't know what to type in order to get introduced to it. I see people do this wrong all the time.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna go. I want to ask this in a different way. The original wallet sent coins to stake wallets.
It sent coins to other addresses, which then staked.
Right, for 1 to 2 years.
Well, no, it was an average of 5 years. And then, so it was like, if I remember correctly, I haven't done the analysis in a while, the daughter addresses would have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 year long stakes spread out over like every day. So, and then now that 2 years has passed, all those stakes that, it's funny, the community noticed that some of these daughter addresses were about to get penalized by fees because they hadn't ended their stake within 2 weeks. And so this guy named John Wick in Text Trading Chat, we got like 10,000 people in this chat that eyeballs every wallet. Oh, this guy's end stake's coming up. Is he going to dump? Is he not going to dump? Oh, this wallet's been buying. Look how much more dry powder he's got. They do all the chain analysis. Like when the price moves, I go to Text Trading to find out why it moved because those guys already know. So this guy, John Wick in there, he paid $5,000, I think, in gas fees to end a whole bunch of daughter stakes that were going to start being penalized. And here's the reason why I did that. When you have an expired stake, those shares that are in the pool are diluting everybody else's payouts. Now, long term, when someone finally does good accounting or end that stake, it removes those expired shares, which increases everybody else's payouts, and it also deploys the harvested penalties to the stakers as well. And so he just wanted the higher APY now instead of later. And so he caused the good accounting function to be called, which pulled the expired shares, which increased everybody's daily payouts now. At the cost of later, it would have been higher if they kept letting it tick through and burn its stakes. It's totally trustless. Like the community just did everything. It's awesome.
It's a very interesting example of the good accounting function that you talked about. What I want to let me try it this way.
Sure.
So
let me just stop there. So again, it's like, did he actually listen to anything that was just being said, or because it's like the whole time he's just like waiting to just jump back in?
No, his response doesn't match the answers that Richard gave him.
Yeah, and I mean, we're not even going deep. We're not trying to play like detectives here. I don't know. To me, this was really obvious, but I didn't see a lot of people like commenting on this and noticing it. So I think it's important to bring this up. But let's see what else we got here. I think we got one more little OA mention right here. So let's wrap this up and let's see what's said.
Is your intention just to try and point out like, hey, the price could dump to zero because like there's centralization? Like, what's the motive?
Made that clear.
Okay.
You've been super transparent. The price could go to zero.
Yeah.
I've no ulterior motive. You've been transparent about that, and I respect you for that. What I'm trying to understand.
Interesting fact: you can't actually drive a Uniswap V2 pool to zero by trading. You can only approximate zero. But it gets so close to zero anyway. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Okay. So what I'm trying to understand is
He's not even listening.
Sent money to daughter wallets
Yes.
at stake.
Yes.
Let's say these two ended their stake.
Yes.
You
Those
said
coins are
the
just sat
origin
there. They'll never
wallet
move again.
Yeah. So you said this is never sold. What you're now saying is that these right here.
Neither the origin or any of the daughters has ever sold anything on chain that we can see. Now look, those transfers, you don't know what the transfers are, right? It could be anything. It could be the same entity's other wallets. It could have been private sales. It's not known. But what we do know is that none of those coins has ever hit an exchange anywhere ever. None of them.
Okay,
might be part of the reason the price has gone up 1,000,000%.
Hold on. Because you just said that these right here, these dollar wallets, have never sold on an exchange. But you don't like exchanges. So when do you sell it on a non-exchange?
Let me ask you this. I've been retired for 20 years. There's rumors that I was.
Okay. So he said he doesn't like centralized exchanges. He likes the transparent blockchain automatic market maker exchanges. So, and you can, if you were to sell those, first of all, you can see that those coins have never moved to a centralized exchange. And if he were to sell those, it would be very transparent on a decentralized exchange. Again, Kevin is pointing out his noobishness in not understanding this market and how DeFi actually works.
Right. And Richard kind of grabbed the bait wrong on this and then starts talking about like himself and his credibility. Whereas what Kevin was actually saying is, and I think Richard expected him to know more. What Kevin was actually saying is, I don't know what you're saying.
Yes.
He wasn't understanding that, like Richard gave him the answer twice, but he just didn't know what he meant. So what he meant was they haven't moved or they haven't been sold. They've moved, but they haven't been sold. Okay, how do we know this? Well, because if they went to a centralized exchange, you'd be able to see it on the blockchain. Just go to Etherscan. If they were sold on like 1inch or an aggregator, you'd be able to see it on the blockchain. You could just literally go to Etherscan. So if you've got this question of like, oh, well, how do you know? How could you prove it? Go to Etherscan, look up all these addresses, follow them, do your own chain analysis. You can pay for chain analysis software, which tracks this and can send you alerts. So you could stay on top of this 24/7. You would know if any of this stuff ever moved. So like, and again, at a 40,000 foot level, that's all you really need to pay attention to. If your worry with this is, oh, am I going to eventually get rugged? Is okay. So there's your rug insurance right there. Is go ahead and set up your staking ladder, and then sign up for your service to track all these addresses, and you'd be the first to know.
Yep, and you can even look at this information. We have a community member, Gunther the accountant, that created the Hex audit channel, and you can audit all of these addresses through his Hex audit. He's got a Google document.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, Excel spreadsheet where it tracks every single one of these wallets. It is more transparent than most people really understand. And so if Kevin really had any questions, he could go into Telegram, get into the Hex audit, and he could run the Etherscan on every single one of these wallets because they are well documented.
Which that would have been a great answer for Richard to throw back at him, because because all these like points in time, like this one, which is, I don't even know how many at this point in the interview there's that's occurred, is that the audience, what they're thinking is they're turning into little master psych evaluators, and they're like, oh, see, that's deflection, that's shady, that means it's a scam.
Yeah, there were a couple people in Kevin's chat saying exactly that. Like, why can't he just answer the question? Well, he is. You're just not understanding where he's going with it.
Right. And then even if you were to say that, like, I am answering you, you're just not understanding. They're just, so like, and then it goes into, oh, so you're an ego-driven maniac who loves yourself too much. It's like, I don't know, man. Sometimes humans are really, really overly complex and they don't need to be. It's very simple. Like, you can only explain something so many times before you either get annoyed or you just can't explain it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not really your fault anymore at that point.
Yeah.
Like, so that's where like maybe doing more research and coming to the table with that would have been a better idea. Or again, like, I guess like Richard maybe could have these things, on cue, ready to be fired off if somebody wanted. Speaking of firing, just in case you guys hear big like bang noises in the background, that's fireworks. I'm not in a hostile war zone in any way. It's fireworks. We're shooting this. It's literally almost New Year's. So happy New Year's to you if you're tuning in.
Happy New Year's, Hexicans and Pulsicans and Pulsexicans.
Comment below with Happy New Year if you've made it this far, and we'll know. Okay.
That's right.
Okay. Let's see, what else do we got? I think that was it. I mean, do we really want to keep go through the rest of this? They touch on CoinMarketCap. I think that was 3 times. Touch on market cap again.
So as far as the CoinMarketCap conversation went, Richard brought it up that there is a lawsuit against CoinMarketCap for the gross negligence of the coin and being gatekept on page 3 on number 201, when many times the manual gatekeepers have screwed up and Hex accidentally slipped to the front. I think he should have focused on the fact that Yahoo Finance actually
Yes.
uses the coin market cap and places Hex in the right place, but they're using the API data feed from coin market cap. So it proves that coin market cap is actually gatekeeping Hex on page 3.
Right, which I actually saw Doug Polk get really tripped up about this too. I didn't realize this, but he had
Yes.
made some commentary about like Hex at some point, and he's like, "Oh, it should be number 3, but it's not on CoinMarketCap." It's like, bro, go to Yahoo Finance slash cryptocurrencies, and you'll see that Hex is basically at the same place as Nomics, which I think is like 6 or 7 right now. And if you go to CoinMarketCap, it's always 201, always. Always. So how is that possible? If it's the same data aggregator and the API is the purest source of data that I can get. Actually, let's pull it up just so I can show you. Here it is right here, because I go to it so often just to prove this point. Oh my gosh, looky there. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6. Where's the data coming from? CoinMarketCap right there. It's their API. So like I would have loved for him to do this too. And like, hey, let me show you. Let's bring this up on screen. Because that would like shut down that whole argument and stop the confusion. But what it sounds like when you're not bringing up this simple reference point is that like, oh, he just doesn't like this because they're not treating his coin fairly. So, and again, it adds to that like bad narrative rap.
Yeah.
When it was very easily explainable.
But at the same time, I'm glad that Richard didn't go into a lot of this detail, because that puts him in a defensive mode, being reactionary. And right now, the stance that he's taking is proactive. And I think that's still the right approach to it. Let us Hexicans be the ones to jump in there and say, wait a second. It wasn't worth Richard's time to go through and aggregate all this data for you, but let us do it for you. And let us show you where this narrative that you're trying to push towards in this interrogation is actually false. And we can show you via the data that it's false.
Yeah, true. I mean, would you as a founder like want to be like, okay, like memorize this thread all the way through and this is how we respond?
No,
like, come on,
it's not worth his time to do that. Keep educating people on how crypto actually works. And there's going to be some percentage of people that get it. There's going to be those that never get it. And then there's going to be those that figure it out. Oh, he was right years down the road. And that's fine.
Yeah.
Let them come to that conclusion later.
And the CoinMarketCap lawsuit is discussed at 4407, in case you want to know. But again, all the timestamps are on the Richard version of the interview. So yeah, I mean, total supply and market cap, which again, the stumbling there is going to be the same stumbling as what we just saw with the order book and volume. And can you execute your order? Is there enough liquidity? All of that is just the same circle.
Yeah, it really is. And if MeetKevin happens to see this, if someone turns him on to this and he actually happens to get the opportunity to look at the data that we're providing here within this video, go to Etherscan, go to the Hex contract, go down to the contract tab and click on the allocated supply. It's 637 billion coins. Now, technically, some of those are out of circulation because they are in stakes and they get burned at the time of stake. But they are still active coins. If you want a true market cap, you take that 637 billion coins multiplied by the current price, which is what, 34 cents right now at the time of this. I didn't even look before we got on. I'm staked. I don't worry about price. Price is inconsequential to me until the time that I need to take profits. But that gives you the actual market cap, which puts us much higher than number 6, even in coin market cap size. But they purposely throw out all the OA daughter addresses and all the staked coins.
Yeah. So let's see how it ends. Like maybe there's going to be like this nice like, hey man, I really appreciate you coming on for me, spending an hour and a half of your time. Let's just see how this ends. Let's see.
I can't do more free stuff or do more good for the world. Like,
I will say you've got one heck of an audience, and not just audience, but community.
I think the important thing for your listeners is it's vital that you guys get crypto right, because financially to you, cryptocurrency is more valuable than anything else you'll ever do in your entire life. If you get this right, you can make 1 million times your money, and that's impossible in any other industry. Impossible. So if you get crypto right, you'll be financially free for life. If you get it wrong, you lose everything. You buy a rug pull, it goes to zero, you lose everything. So you get hacked. People get hacked all the time. Fake live stream giveaways. They'll take a copy of this live stream, restream it, and then put a scam order around it. Send 1 coin, get 2 back, and you can't report them enough, and they never go down. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting.
Yeah.
That you are completely right about. Well, I got to run. I really
Pleasure,
appreciate your time.
Eesh.
Yeah, it was. Let me rush you off here real quick. But hey, thanks for trying to save everybody last minute. Like I don't know many founders of scam coins that take the narrative that, hey, thank you thank you guys for looking into this, but make sure you get this right, or you could financially wreck yourselves forever. Like there's not a lot, a lot of scam coin founders would say, or the marketing for scam coins would say, hey, look, you can do 1,000,000x returns. And that is true. In crypto, it is the only industry that you can. But not many of them are willing to be transparent enough that, hey, if you don't get this right, you're going to lose everything.
Yeah, yeah. And we've seen that. We've seen that pain and suffering with the GameStop and all those people that the like everyday Joes that they didn't cash out because they went through the same shit we did in 2017. We're like, oh, it's not going to go down. This is different. This is different, bro. This is crypto. This is 2017. Yeah, it's different this time. Revolution, blah, blah, blah. Insert narrative here, right? And all those guys end up getting wiped out. All of them. So it's like for the few that took profit, there was way more horror stories that ended up occurring. And the same thing happened with Doge. The same thing happened with SHIB. And the same things happened with Bitcoin and ETH and every single other coin that's ever been created. Right? So
100%.
anyways, the end of that was very lackluster to me. And again, kind of kept with the same weird themes. So I guess I wouldn't expect different at the end. Like, okay, gotta go. What?
Yeah.
What? So, okay, there you have it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this. I had fun talking through all this. What about you?
Oh, I enjoy this. I think we should do more of these reaction videos going forward because there's so much added value after the fact as far as being able to present empirical data to people.
Yeah, I agree.
And why that is a false narrative, some of these threads that they go down in these interviews. So I think we should probably do more of these just to point out, hey, look, it's not necessarily that MeetKevin had malintent at the beginning of this. He was a skeptic, didn't know how to do the research and didn't know what to actually research before he came on. He was educated above his understanding in this live stream, and hopefully in the future he circles back around and his worldview has changed.
Yeah, I'd love to see a part two. Like, and again, as I stated, is I don't really know what he had, who he had in his ear, who he was in his corner telling him this or that. I don't know. So yeah, I thought it was it could have been a lot better, but I also thought that the depth of a lot of what they got into was also really, really good, and we got some really great pure answers. Like Richard was really going out of his way and being like more transparent than he should have, which then kind of like trapped him further and further into like gotchas and more questions. But I did want to backtrack to one thing: is what do you guys think in the comment section? Should we do more of these reaction videos? We'd love to hear your thoughts. What did you think of this? And of course, if you want to, comment for the algorithms, just do that as well. That'll help. Like this video, and I think we'll wrap it there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to share with MeetKevin and all of his chat members or his members of his community. That would be great too. So
yeah, absolutely. Share this. Comment below. Let's get this out there. And obviously with the next one, we'll look to do similar. All right. See you, my friends.
Happy New Year, and we'll see you, Hexkins.
Yeah. Happy New Year, guys.